Welcome. The Prince George's Park and Recreation Division has revealed new plans for the Paintbrush Golf Course. This is part one of a couple of videos that I'm going to put together about this. This is basically outlining the plan as it was presented to us, with a few initial comments. The second part will have much more information about the way golfers feel about it. I have been talking to a large number of golfers and collecting a lot of their ideas about how to improve the course. And hopefully the Parks and Recreation group will take some of this into account. First of all, let's describe the community update that they gave us on the 15th of March of this year. The presentation can be viewed at the website listed below in red. Two plans were presented. There were no cost shares, and we were assured that nothing is decided. However, we have heard that before. The first plan was the short-term changes designed to be put in the next 1 to 2 years. One was to upgrade the drainage, which wouldn't be a bad thing. Full course aerification. Now, I believe we do that every year anyway, but more power to doing things like that. Bermuda grass sprigging, which is apparently a way of introducing a new grass type into the fairways and rough without disrupting the whole course while that's being done. New irrigation lines, I assume those are needed because the ones that are there are pretty old. Input cart paths along every hole. That would be good from the point of view that means seniors will be able to play even when it's been fairly wet, because most of the time after a major rainstorm, carts can't be used. There's some idea about tree thinning, and they've been starting to do that, and I think that's very good. And also introducing driving range lighting. Now, we need to discuss that with the local residents so it doesn't disrupt them. The second phase was to be done over the next 2 to 5 years, and a golf study is supposed to start in the third quarter of this year. It actually includes all Prince George's County golf courses: Paintbranch, Enterprise, Henson Creek and Gunpowder. There was also some indication that they may be purchasing Lake Arbor, which might be interesting to do. They're looking for volunteers to participate in the focus group, and if you go to the website, I believe there's some contact information there such that you can volunteer if you wish to. The basic idea, and they seem to have gotten our message, to keep the driving range in the 9-hole course. The enhancements that they're talking about are things like expanding the teeing areas, wider fairways and lefts rough, make each hole more unique, develop Paintbranch as the first tee and training facility. Now, I hope they do that, but don't forget about us seniors. Introduce new recreational facilities, and this is one of the things that worries me. Change the water features, not sure why we need to do that. And also to make the maintenance easier, and therefore I assume cheaper, which probably would be a good thing too. They talk about enhancing the training facilities, such as the driving range, but they don't say actually how they were going to do that. Perhaps with target greens. They wanted to help develop junior golf, and I know they have a fairly vigorous program already, so hopefully that will continue or be enhanced. A better putting green, I think amen to that, and realization that the driving range is actually a fairly major revenue generator, and so any improvements to that will probably increase the revenue to the course. Now, this slide was not one of their slides. This is my slides. I've just put in the current configuration of the course. The area photograph is on the right, and I've marked where each of the holes are. And in the table here, I've got the range of distances for each of the holes. Now, there's some uncertainty about this because there are several different versions of the scorecard, and they all have different distances on it. But anyway, 9 holes. Yardage range from 1635 to 2035 yards, par 31, a rating of 27.8, which is quite low, and a slope of 104, which is very low. It has 3 lakes on 3 of the holes, it has 2 rivers on 4 of the holes, and 3 bunkers on 2 of the holes. So that's our current setup. Now, one of the things I would point out, if you look at those yardage distances, that these holes are all unique in their distance ranges. And the main problem we have is the way that the course is set up day to day and week to week. Often they will set up the course such that you have several holes with exactly the same club to hit. And there should be more thought put into making the length of the holes different and the challenge of the holes different in the way that the course is set up. This is the first concept that they presented to us, a 9-hole golf course, 2,085 yards, so it's about 50 yards longer than the current course, par 31, with just 2 lakes. They fill in the large lake on hole number 1, and there's still the 2 rivers across along holes 5 and 6. So this is a minimal impact sort of configuration that they're talking about. This was the second concept that they presented. It's 9 holes of standard golf. They'd only amounted to 1,765 yards. That's 270 yards shorter than the current course. It would still be par 31, but there'd be added 6 holes of pitch and putt along the current course of hole number 1, and that would be 535 yards long, par 18. They are proposing to add other activities such as football golf and miniature golf. We've heard these sorts of things before, and I think they need a little bit more justification than we've currently heard. One of the most disturbing things we heard is that if we went with the second concept, the impact would be that the course could be closed for up to a year. I think that would be disastrous. So some conclusions based on this, which I've called the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's certainly some interesting ideas here, but some are completely impractical. Once again, they've not involved the paint branch users and the neighborhood residents in any of these discussions so far. This was their first rather weak attempt at doing this. In fact, many of the golfers that attended this were very disappointed with the presentation. As one said, they were talking at us, not with us. I think that was partly due to the format they were using. I believe that some of the goals that they put forward can be achieved without disrupting the current course configuration and at much lower cost. But we do actually need to have a cost-benefit analysis and to see how much these changes are going to cost the Prince George's taxpayers. This course is a good option for training, but it's the only option for senior golf, and that should be remembered in any of these plans. Seniors make up the vast majority of the people that play this course, and they should be included in the process. I just heard on the grapevine that the management is considering requiring tee time bookings to play the course. I think this is a huge retrograde step. This idea was in part responsible for the death knell of the Enterprise Senior League, which was probably one of the most successful senior leagues in Prince George's County. Please let's learn from past mistakes and not change things for change's sake. So until next time, stay safe and goodbye.